I know one of the issues that I expect, and I think you expect to come up in the authorization bill discussions, debate coming up here, is the issue of the Defense Department's old abortion access policy, which has now been removed, struck down by the new Defense Secretary, and the issue of IVF services that was also included in that. You've signed on to a measure with Representative Sherrill to try and get that back in. What do you think the prospects are here? Obviously, you've got a Republican-controlled House, Republican-controlled Senate. I mean, are there any protections that you can sort of get into the system?
This is a little bit of a schoolhouse rock lesson. Elections have their consequences, and right now the Republicans have the majority in the House and the Senate and the White House. And what does that mean? That means that even if Representative Sherrill and I and many, many others are advocating for what I think is a basic right to be able to have health care wherever you're stationed, I won't be able to determine whether or not that piece of legislation, and she as well, gets to the floor for consideration, because the Speaker of the House is the one who determines whether we vote on things. And so, short of some sort of miracle, it's likely that we won't be able to have that piece of legislation come to the floor for a vote. But it's really important that people out there hear that there are people here in Congress, many, many people here in Congress, who very much believe in your right as a person either who is wearing the uniform or a family member to be able to travel for that care that you need. And this is something that's really, really important for people to hear. It's also important for people to hear that family planning is the choice of the family. It is not the choice of the government to do that. It's important to hear as well, this is not paying for abortions or any other reproductive care. It's paying for the ability to travel to receive care that you can't otherwise receive in the place that you are stationed. I grew up in the military as a young person. I was in the military myself. You don't get to choose where you go. But you should be able to make sure you avail yourself of health care wherever you are stationed.
So that's probably one that, as you said, is not going to be a point of compromise. Do you see other issues, though, like the housing issues, like the pay raises for higher ranking enlisted? Do you think there is room for compromise on those? Because last year with the Quality of Life panel, you were working closely with Representative Bacon. Yeah. There was a lot of actual bipartisan work, despite all the politics up here, despite all the fights. So,
exactly.
I mean, do you see real opportunities to still be hitting those quality of life issues, despite some of the harsh rhetoric up here?
I do see real opportunities. I know that Representative Fallon and I and the other folks who serve on the military personnel subcommittee are very interested in continuing our work. It is going to be a difficult environment, though. You're seeing with the new presidency and the DOJ and all of those efforts, quite a lot of efforts to cut and to cut deeply. And I think you'll see that as well in the military. And so it'll be our challenge to continue to elevate those things that are important, to make sure that we are, ready to fight tonight, and that we have the best military in the world, which we already do, but that we maintain that, and that's all about our personnel.
Okay. Last question for you, as you referenced those cuts. Quite a few federal workers look like they're on their way out, especially in the Defense Department. There's concerns about what that's going to mean. How much are you tracking that right now, and just what is your concern level as we wonder what exactly these cuts are going to be?
I got to be honest, it's pretty high. What I did in the military was I was an engineer. I worked up at the Hanscom Air Force Base area working on advanced plans and programs, things that were sort of future weapon systems, future communication systems, and I worked side by side with a lot of federal employees, a lot of civilians who did the similar job that I did. And the concept that these folks are the ones who may, and already are, getting terminated in one way, shape, or form, that will affect our readiness. That will affect, how vibrant the military is and how virulent the military is. And I think that that's one of the goals, my understanding is, of Secretary Hegseth's, is to make sure that we are a deadly force. And if you take away the people who know how to do the things, we are no longer a deadly force.
All right, great. Congressman, thank you so much. Looking forward to pestering you about all these questions as we move ahead.
So. Thank you. Appreciate you.